So then they came to us.
We came to another sunny day, always sunny in Shropshire, you know. We came to them, slightly less people, and it was a bit more erratic. Lots of parents, it was a Saturday, lots of parents taking kids places. They can't get there independently, so people couldn't. The night before, people were on the phone going, I'm going to Smethwick tomorrow. What for? I don't know, but there's a space. Why don't you come? So even on the day, we weren't sure how many people were coming. I think about 25 of us came in the end. And we started off at the Public, which is an extraordinary, quite controversial public art building, digital media building. Well, they haven't seen anything like this in Stipestones, I can tell you. They absolutely loved it. Lots of interactive, participative art stuff. Galleries. This is a great one, you have to go. They all wanted to go back to the Public afterwards. Then we did a bus tour of Smethwick, which when we planned it, we were going, this doesn't sound possible. But we just wanted people to see the whole urban environment.
And actually, that's not a very good picture of a Hindu temple, which you can see in the background. In the foreground, you actually have the gateway to the temple. This really doesn't help that it was grey at this point, and I don't think this is a brilliant shot. But the temple is actually the biggest South Indian temple in Europe. And on a sunny day, it looks a lot sexier than that.
But people still wanted to get off the bus and go to it, though, didn't they?
But because of that tight schedule, we could only sort of window shop with this.
Yeah. Then we went back to the mosque. Nehemiah, it was his day off, and he made a point of coming back in because he really wanted to make sure that he got to see the project through as well and talk to the wider community. And they gave out Qurans, they took us into the prayer room. It was extraordinary, really.
I think at the time I remember you saying, well, for many of us it was a real privilege to be able to just ask lots of questions, you know, simple, naive questions, whatever they might be, about Islam, and have them answered in a very personal way.
But also what's really interesting is that when we went as ambassadors, although these people, the other ambassadors of Smethwick, lived in Smethwick, they had never been in the mosque either. So I thought that was really, you know, it's not just people who come from away, it was just sharing faith within the community. We sang with black voices, call that work, that was great. And we made rangoli, which was great fun. Food, you know, food's really important, isn't it? And then we saw Vamos. So Vamos came out and performed here. I must say the Vamos workshops were excellent. If anyone wants to work with them or wants a recommendation, I thought she was incredible on the hoof, what she managed to do, because it changed minute by minute who was going to be in it, didn't it?
Absolutely.
She just took it on.
And well, she had from the 7-year-old to the 70-year-old, she had everyone engaged.
Yeah. This is Mark. And that's the...
What we managed to achieve in terms of reviewing it, we managed to get the children fired up and curious about the other space. And I think it was interesting that Nika made a point earlier about decibel artists who weren't even aware of the rural setting, which it sort of echoes my experience as well to some degree, my historical experience, which is your reality is based on what you interact with and where you exist. And for many, many years I never ventured into the countryside, and it's opened up a whole new world in ways. So we managed to achieve that with the schools, and I think the warmth and the friendliness that each community provided, and how we were sort of chaperoned and looked after, of all the things, you know, walking into any strange situation, there's always the fear of, do I know what to do? Will I make a fool of myself? Am I doing this wrong? And of course we were looked after in the countryside, and similarly you were looked after in the other space.
Yeah. In fact, when the bus pulled up outside the school in the Stipestones and all these people got off, this guy stopped his car and said, "Where are you lot from?" Because it's like, you're not from round here, are you? It's one of those classic comments. We've lost our thingies now. No, go, it's fine. Hopping around like a rabbit, I don't know. It definitely did new things, because lots of people did art activities for the first time. People came to the countryside for the first time. People went to a mosque for the first time. So lots of firsts. In terms of barriers, I think we smashed through quite a lot of barriers, which was great. I mean, in terms of follow-up, we're on the next bit, aren't we? Okay. we really wanted to do more. We felt really fired up at the end of this, but the school is under imminent threat of closure, so all the energy from the school has gone into trying to survive. I'm sure this is really common with people who are working with schools. And so all their ideas about delivering pen friends and rebuilding links with the school, they're completely on the back burner at the moment because the school might not exist anymore. What final point?
But we are talking with each other. We're planning to work together, Black Country Touring and Arts Alive, with Carly Theatre Company, which is an Asian theatre company developing Asian women writers, to produce a new play which is exploring themes of urban and rural. We'll work with the writer to explore some of those themes with groups and develop a script and go on to produce the play and tour. At the minute there's talks about it being suitable for urban small-scale venues as well as rural venues, but the ambition would be for that to be made available to the NRTF circuit, potentially, and we're talking about
2014, I think, if it happens, well, when it happens, it will happen, that's when it will be produced. And one thing we haven't mentioned here is that we, through the project, we had a blog running, and everybody who did things at different stages, that went up on the blog, which I thought was really interesting, with lots of pictures and comments. And we got some fantastic feedback from people after the visits as well about, you know, what it had meant to them, the impact that they'd had.
That's it.
I got lots of little tiny bits of funding for it as well, which were a nightmare to administrate, but it meant the project happened from little local pots. I'm sure they're not going to be around much longer. But it didn't take very much of my core funds at all to do that. Just a few more grey hairs.
Most of the income to make this happen actually came from Mark at the CAP Centre, who had been successful with the Grants for the Arts application to get in some infrastructure into his centre after having worked with us over a number of years. He got in some new staging, some lighting, as well as some money for programming shows and to do aspects of this project.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
That's it.